Hello. Hi, good morning, everyone. And good afternoon to some people who are joining in from Indonesia and India. So, thank you, everyone, for being available for this webinar. And today we will talk about how to use Timbeter for measuring timber in different ways. As you all might already have some idea about what is Timbeter, but let me just do a quick intro about myself and also about the company, and then we will begin with the demo. So, I am Jyotsna Shekhawat, and I am the sales manager at Timbeter. Timbeter is basically an online, a digital roundwood measurement solution to measure timber of different types. Basically, any roundwood, uh, meaning pine or teak or eucalyptus, all types of roundwood can be easily measured with Timbeter. And all this measurements, all this data can be easily accessed from your cloud-based storage module, which we will also show you the demo of today. So before I start with the overall details about how we do the measurements, I would just like to tell you that it would be easier for all of you to understand this demo in a better way if you have this app downloaded on your phones. For Android also, I can share the link. So basically, there are three different apps that you will see on the Play Store. One is Timbeter regular app, which is just by the name of Timbeter. This app is basically includes various regimes of measurement of timber, including diameter functionality, which measures the diameters of each and every log in a pile, or it also does the volume calculation. It does the log count calculation as well in a pile, and also density functionality. So I'm just mentioning this link here. You can go ahead and download it. And similarly, if you want, you can also download. There are two more apps available. One is Timbeter Log Counter app, which is basically if in case as a company or as an individual, if you are working in the timber industry and you need to only count the number of logs in a pile, in that case, this app is very relevant to you. So you can either download that also. And the third one is a Timbeter container app, which is specifically for containers like shipping, etc., where timber is sent or transported in containers. So the app works very well on those containers. You do not have to worry about taking the logs out of the container and then measuring them. So this app is also available. If you go to the Play Store and type Timbeter, you can download any of them. All the three have similar ways of measuring. So today we will take a look at the Timbeter regular app in detail, and similarly you can try the other two apps at your end. After that, we will talk about the storage module, which I mentioned. So uh, let's get started. I'll before for around 20 minutes or so, we will keep this demo. And if any of you have any questions, please feel free to ask us in this chat option, and we will receive your questions, and we will try to answer it either during or after this demo is complete. And we'll try to keep around 5 minutes of time at the end of the discussion, end of the demo, so that we have all the questions answered by the end. So let's begin. If you see the screen, you can actually see the home screen of the app that we have, which is the Timbeter regular app. available on iOS as well as Android Play Store. So you can download it, and I would suggest you can download it on the side while I take you through the demo of the app so that it would be easier for you to understand. So if you see here, we have two options. First is start measuring, which is simply how you can go ahead and take a picture of the pile. On the right side, we have the view results option, which will show you all the previous measurements that you have done. And you can also edit those existing ones and see here different inventories, incoming and outgoing, and other details. However, before we go to all these details, let's just go ahead and start the tutorial, because that would be easier for us to understand. So, right, so we have these few options here under the tutorial section. First is the diameter measurement, which will give you the diameters of all the logs in a particular pile which you're measuring. Then we have the panorama capture, which is just simply to take multiple pictures if in case you have a very large pile of logs. And then we have the option to also see the density of the pile. So these are multiple options we have. Let's go ahead and do the diameter measurement first. Now it will give you basic details on how our diameter measurement works. The first and foremost thing for us before we measure through Timbeter app is to make sure that we have a reference stick which needs to be placed in front of the pile, like shown in the picture here. You can simply take any stick which is roughly around 1 meter length, which is the minimum length which is required. However, you can also have a longer reference stick. However, 1 meter is the minimum length. Now just click on go ahead, and you can see here different options. These are the details that you will have to enter after taking the picture from the app. Make sure when you're taking the picture, you are standing right in front of the pile and you're parallel to the pile. The phone is held parallel to the pile and there is enough brightness. You can also select the brightness from the Timbeter app itself. It can be adjusted. So now after you take the picture, you will have to come here and select the reference size, which is manually you can enter if in case it's longer than 100 centimeters. Second thing is the tree species. So if you look here, by default, birch is selected here. However, if you are using any other tree species, you can select it from here. And if it's not in the list, you can also click on other. The next thing is the log length. This is the average length of all the logs in the measured stack. So if you have a log pile in front of you, you can just take an average of the log lengths and you can mention it here. This is the only requirement from your side in order to get the diameters of all the individual logs. And the final thing is the formula. So by default, cylindrical formula is the most common formula which is used by most companies and most countries as well. However, if you have any other options, you can select any of these as well. We have listed the major formulas that different countries and companies are using. Now click on save. The next screen will basically show you the picture that you have taken, and you just have to now make sure that this red line which appears on the screen has to match exactly with the reference stick that we have kept in front of the pile. Now in order to make sure that it's exactly matching, we can also zoom in and match it exactly with this pile. If we do not do this step, the results would not be accurate, and so this is our first checkpoint for making sure that the measurement is as accurate as possible. Now we are done with this. Let's click on next. Now here, if we see in this picture, we have 3 different piles. However, we would only want to take the diameters of the pile in the center. So we can just drag these circles and make sure that we are only using the central pile. So as you can see, I have tried and avoided the extra piles which are coming in the back. Then it's done. Now let's click on next again. Now if you can see, there are certain details which can be fine-tuned here, and I can always select this, like for example I select on this. It's slightly larger, so I can make it smaller. Now this one is selected by mistake. There's no log here, so I can remove it by long pressing on it. Third is, if we see this log, it has no diameter selected, so we can select it here and change the size if needed. Right. So now let's just click on next. And here we go. We have all the results on the left hand side. As you can see, we have avoided the other two piles. However, one log is still missed out from this pile. You can always go back and measure it again. You can fine tune the details again and come back to the results page. However, for now, let's just go to all the details that are shown here. The average diameter is given here, which is 25.13 in centimeters. And you have a slider here. So this is basically nothing but the total different options for the diameters that we have calculated. If we only want to see certain diameters, which the logs which have diameters in this particular range, it will only show us here. If we drag it here, we can select any range we want, and so on. We can also see the log count here and the other details that we had mentioned. So also it will give you the volume of this pile. Now this is how the measurement option, diameter measurement option works. Let's just go to the other option. Panorama is nothing but taking multiple pictures, which you can also try at your end. Now let's just go to the fourth option here, which is given here. Let's just click on this. This is the option to calculate the density of the pile. So basically, we can select the part of the pile which has the highest number of logs and the less number of gaps in between, which will give us the density of the pile in the entire stack. So again, we have to enter these basic details and click on save. Now how we did in the diameter measurement, we have to again measure. We have to mark the red line exactly as per the reference stick. And click on next. Now, if you can see here, we can again fine tune the logs if required. Let's click on next. Then it will take the contour. It will take the surface area of the entire log pile. And you can basically edit it if you need to. However, we'll just go ahead for now. And here you go. You can see the density as well, which is given at the end, which is 0.66. So basically, this is how the app works for the basic measurements. There are many other options that are also available for us to measure, which you can try out at the end. Also, when I was talking about the view results section, so all these measurements that we did will appear here, and you can always go back and view these. So the Timbeter app can be accessed from here. However, you also have the web version, which you can go to the Timber on your web browser and log into your Timbeter option and select the details. You can also view the measurements done by different people in your organization by adding different users in the storage module and so on. So you would be able to make sure that all the measurements done in your organizations are saved at a single place. And these measurements and these results can also be shared with different people in your organization or anybody in your partners or suppliers or buyers, etc. So basically, this is what how the Timbeter measurement works. So I would also like to mention here that we have this option for measuring the logs, how we saw in the demo, where we measure the logs on the ground. However, we also have the option to measure the logs while they are inside the truck. So as and when the trucks are coming in your log yard or going out of the log yard, you can always, without having to worry about unloading or loading the piles on the trucks, You can just simply before that, while they are in the truck, also easily measure with the same Timbeter regular app which we have just showed you the demo for. So in that case, it will save you a lot of time and a lot of effort, of course. So, and we will now take a look at the storage module, like I mentioned. And in the end after the webinar is over, we will also send all of you the details about different links for the apps, and also the links for the quick videos that we have available on YouTube. And you would be able to easily again go through it, and also the recording of this webinar. So let's start with the storage module tutorial. So let's see how the actual demo. We'll just take you through the demo of the storage module. And like we showed, this is the main screen of the storage module, which you can access from app.timbeter.com. Now, coming down to it, you can see on top of it here where storage is written, you can actually select storage or container based on which app you're using. So for example, if you're using this Timbeter regular app, you need to keep selecting this storage option. Otherwise, if you're using the Timbeter container app, in that case, you will have to select the container details from here, and it will show you all the details about the container measurements. But let's just have a look at this for now. Like we showed you, these are all the storages that a person can create in the organizational level, and all the details can be filtered from here on top based on the start end date or the measurement type, and so on. Like for example, if this is the incoming type of measurement, these details are also selected on the mobile app while taking the measurements, and so on. So you can filter with that. You can select the storage status based on that. You can filter as well, and so on. So these ones are the names of the storages that a person can create. You can actually see the coordinates. You can see the last update or the status of the storage, and so on, like we showed earlier. If I click on this, I can see all the measurements that were done earlier or recently in this particular storage. And I can access these pictures from here. I can see what is the measurement type selected. I can see the map coordinates, the type of wood species selected, and the log length, etc. Now, if you want to see this in detail, you can also click on this picture, which will open the measurements that you have done. And you can see here, these are the different diameter profiles. It shows the log diameters, the reference line as well. So if I select this or unselect this, you can actually see the actual picture as well, which it's taken. This is basically the density measurement as well. So for the density area, this green area has been selected as the density area. And so you can deselect it and see as well. Also, you can see the wood assortment here and the logs ranges based on the details of the logs. You can also see deselect or select the reference lines and so on. So these measurements you can see are done. If I click on this option, you can actually see all the map coordinates. So for example, in this one particularly, the person has not selected the location, but if the location is selected, it can actually show you the actual map coordinate of that as well. Here, like we saw in the PPT, similarly, we can see here the log by log diameter profile as well. You can also download this in Excel format if you want. And if this is the measurement basically, so if like we said, we can always go back to the measurements and edit it from the storage module level as well. So if in case you want to do that, you can just click on here and you can see this and you can edit it from here. So you can select, deselect, you can change the sizes. You can also, if in case there is some log which is missed out, you can add it. You can also remove logs without QR code if in case you are using QR code, and so on. But for now, let's just exit it and go back to this. So all these details which have been selected initially while making the measurements are available here for us. Now, coming down to it, these are all the different storages that can be created and viewed here on the organization level. You can also add the manual measurements from here if in case you want to add some measurements that you had done previously and you want to access the same data, all of it in one place. You can also do that from here. You can share these this particular storages details with others if you require from here. Now, let's just go and see this options of Timbeter organization. So basically, this is where your name of the company will appear. You can go and select these options in order to do different things, access different functionalities of the account. So for example, when we talked about adding different users under the same account, you can do it from here. If I click here, it will just take me to the user addition section. From here, you can add a new user. You can also delete once if you have, if you want to delete someone from the access from the account. You can also give different roles. So for example, this person is the measurer, but this person is the regular user who has a little bit more details or a little bit more access as compared to measurer. And then this is the admin account. So admin account details, you can always delete it or add new people as well. Now, if I go to devices, okay, just a second. Right, so once this device option opens, you can also see the details of the device, people who are using those devices. So their email ID will also appear here. This is just a test account, so of course all the details are not mentioned here, and the number of measurements that they have done and when they have done it. So you can always add more devices from here as well. And you can add custom fields from here. Basically, like we discussed, if you have certain additional details that you want to add to your measurements and so on, you can add it from here. And from my account, you can see your basic organizational details. Storages is again something that we have already seen. The details of storage, you can see it from there. You can also see the inventories that you have created. So you can create different inventories and you can, add them from here, and you can see them all from here under it, from this section. So when it was created and what's the total of the inventory and what's the outgoing, incoming, and so on. Each and every detail is available for you to see here. Now going to the report section. These are the reports which have been created so far, and you can also filter them here from the date option, and you can see what all formula volume unit has been created, selected for them. Now, if you go to one of these reports examples, how we saw the log reports earlier. So similarly, we can see all the details here in detail, assortment wise as well. So assortment is like we discussed during the presentation. Okay, assortment can actually include different details about the tree species or the types of wood, the quality of the wood, and the place where it's measured, and so on. And based on which these different assortments can be added from the storage module, and these can also be edited, and then in future if you require anybody to add measurements under a particular assortment, they can do it via the app. If you click on any of these reports, again you can see all these details again. As you can see here, the location was selected, and so we can see it actually on the map. And it becomes very easy for us to understand where exactly the measurement has been taken, which gives complete control and transparency to the system. Now, from here also, you can similarly go and edit the measurements if you require, how we did earlier, and so on. So this is basically the entire storage module. We have many other extra features as well, which are available. and which we can talk to you further about. If you have more questions, you can also, of course, write to us in the text section available in Livestorm webinar, and we can take all the questions now if you require. However, even later, if you have any questions post the webinar ends, you can always write to us at info@timbeter.com, and we will be happy to help you out. For organizations, and particularly people who are attending this webinar, we would like to, by default, there are 10 free pictures which are available for you to use on the app for measurements. However, if you would like to start an organizational trial, we are happy to extend that for you. You just need to reach out to us on the same ID, info@timbeter.com, and we will extend it for you for a certain time, during which you can actually do all the measurements and see whether Timbeter can be of help to you. And of course, we have, like we discussed in the other webinars and details earlier, we have many organizations using our solution today, including some big names, for example, CMPC from Latin America. Then we have Georgia Exports Company. We have a lot of governmental organizations as well. Like now, recently, we have started working with Polish States Forest as well. And in Thailand, we are working with this big name, which a lot of you would have heard, CM Cement Group. And many more names are there. And a lot of them, most of these organizations find storage module as a very, very important feature, because not just the measurement, but managing the reports and managing the data is a very, very crucial aspect of doing roundwood measurements. So in order to give you a complete control and accessibility, storage module comes into picture. And yes, so we are open to questions now. Once again, thank you so much for your time. And yeah, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. I would also like to mention here that this webinar's recording will be, like I mentioned earlier as well, but I'll just mention again that we will send the recording to you over email after this ends. And also, if you have any questions, like we mentioned, please feel free to reach out to us later on as well. We also have these webinars available on our website, so you can always access them later on as well on demand. Okay, so as of now, we don't have any questions. So thank you again, everyone, for attending this today. And we look forward to speaking to you or connecting with you soon. Thank you.